Sun. In Greek mythology, the Sun was called Helios. The Romans called it Sol. The Sun is the largest object in the solar system, more than 1 million times bigger than Earth. It constitutes 99.8% of the total mass of the solar system. The Sun is in a huge ball of hydrogen gas. Everything in the solar system revolves around it. It rotates once on its axis every 25.4 days. The Sun's core reaches 15 million degrees Celsius, or 27 million degrees Fahrenheit, so hot that it would vaporize everything on Earth. The Earth orbits in the Sun's outer atmosphere. We need the Sun to maintain life on Earth, but the full strength of the Sun's energy would kill all living things. We are protected by the Earth's atmosphere and magnetic field, which allows only part of this energy to reach Earth. Mercury. In Roman mythology, Mercury is a god of commerce, travel, and thievery. The planet probably received its name because it travels around the Sun in less than 90 days, quicker than any other planet. It has a very short year. However, it spins slowly, taking 59 days to spin on its axis. Mercury is one of the smallest planets, even smaller than Earth. It is the closest planet to the Sun, and sometimes cannot be seen. Often it is hidden behind the Sun or appears in front, getting lost in the Sun's glare. Mercury has a very hot, thin atmosphere. A tin can would melt, and humans could not live there. Mercury has been mapped by one spacecraft that flew by in 1974. Venus. In Greek mythology, Venus is the goddess of love and beauty. Venus is the second planet in distance from the Sun, slightly smaller than Earth. Venus was once regarded as Earth's sister planet, as they appear to be very much alike. Only after close study was it found that it is very different to Earth. It has a temperature of 400 degrees, enough to melt some metals. Once there was probably water on Venus, but it boiled away. Its atmosphere is mainly carbon dioxide, and the winds are about 350 kilometers per hour. Venus rotates very slowly. There are 243 Earth days in one Venus day. Venus has been surveyed by several spacecraft. Earth. Earth is the only planet whose name is not from Greek or Latin. It is from Old English and German. Earth has only the one moon, unlike the other planets, and as far as we know, Earth is the only planet where there is life. Its crust consists of many pieces or plates, which are constantly moving and changing shape. 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water, and it is the only planet where water exists in liquid form. The atmosphere is 21% oxygen and 77% nitrogen. It takes the Earth 24 hours or a day to rotate on its own axis, and 365 days or 1 year to make a single trip around the Sun. This is a wonderful place to live, but only if we look after our planet and protect our environment. Mars. Mars is the god of war. The month of March is derived from this name. Mars is the fourth planet in distance from the Sun, and seventh largest of all the planets, much smaller than Earth. Mars is the most favored planet after Earth for human habitation. Therefore, several spacecraft have orbited Mars in search of signs of life. Several robots have landed on its surface. The latest robot in 2004 found signs of water. It is very cold on Mars. The average temperature is about minus 55 degrees Celsius, but can vary from minus 133 to plus 27. Man could survive there if he wore a spacesuit. The atmosphere is very thin and mainly carbon dioxide. It takes the planet 687 years to travel once around the Sun, and a day is 24 hours. Mars has 2 moons, and the largest mountain in the solar system, 3 times higher than Mount Everest. Jupiter. In Roman mythology, Jupiter was the king of gods and ruler of Olympus. Jupiter is by far the largest of the planets, and one of the brightest. It is the 5th planet in distance from the Sun. If Jupiter were hollow, more than 1,000 Earths would fit inside it. It contains more matter than all of the planets combined. A year on Jupiter is nearly 12 Earth years, and 1 day is 10 Earth hours. The atmosphere on Jupiter is 90% hydrogen, and the radiation on the planet would be fatal to humans not protected with spacesuits. The planet has 16 moons and is surrounded by thin rings that cannot be seen from the Earth. Winds there reach 700 kilometers per hour, and the winds are cold at minus 150 degrees Celsius. Several spacecrafts have orbited Jupiter, one of them, Galileo, for 8 years. Saturn. In Roman mythology, Saturn is the god of agriculture. It also gave us the name Saturday. Saturn is the 6th planet in distance from the Sun in the solar system. It is easily recognizable by the beautiful rings that surround it. The rings are formed by water ice and possibly by rocky particles. Saturn can be seen by the naked eye, but not as brightly as the other planets. Like Jupiter, it is made up of 75% hydrogen. Winds on the planet reach 1,800 kilometers per hour. Saturn takes 29.5 years to orbit the Sun, but a day on a planet is only 10 hours. Saturn has been surveyed several times by spacecraft. Uranus. Uranus is the Greek name for the supreme god of the heavens. Uranus is the 7th planet in distance from the Sun, and is 67 times larger than Earth. It is barely visible with a telescope. Uranus looks like a disk and spins lying on its side. It was discovered in the 18th century, one of the 2 planets to be discovered in modern times. It takes Uranus 84 years to go around the Sun, so its poles are 42 years in daylight and 42 years in the dark. Uranus is a gas planet, and its atmosphere is 83% hydrogen. It has 27 moons and at least 11 rings. It was visited by one spacecraft, Voyager 2, in 1986. Neptune. In Roman mythology, Neptune was the god of the sea. Neptune is the 8th planet in distance from the Sun, and the 4th largest of all the planets. It is 4 times larger in diameter than Earth. There is very little information about this planet. It is primarily ice. The atmosphere is mainly hydrogen and a little helium. Neptune is the coldest planet and has the strongest winds in the solar system, reaching 2,000 kilometers per hour. Neptune is surrounded by rings and has 13 known moons. 1 year on Neptune is nearly 165 Earth years, and 1 day just over 11 hours. Neptune has been surveyed only once by spacecraft in 1989. Pluto. In Roman mythology, Pluto was the god of the underworld. Pluto is the furthest planet from the Sun, and by far the smallest. It is smaller even than some of the moons. There are some who think that Pluto should not be classified as a planet, but as an asteroid. Very little is known about this planet. Details of its composition and atmosphere are unknown. The temperature on Pluto is about minus 230 degrees Celsius. Its orbit most other planets. 1 year is 240 Earth years, and 1 day is equal to 6 days. Pluto has 1 moon. It's the only planet that has not been surveyed by a spacecraft.
This experiment is to show why the sky is blue. In comparison to this, when the sun rays down from space to Earth, all the gas and particles are scattered by the light. When we breathe droplets, viruses can spread anywhere in the air from our mouths. But for now, with the COVID-19 virus, it spreads quite dangerously and it can affect other people. So at the moment, the government said you need to wear face covering to stop the droplets from spreading, or viruses, I should say. But now I'm going to show you an experiment to why that is with the planet Bull, which is similar to spreading viruses in the air. Houston, we have a problem.
Libby Jackson from the UK Space Agency joins us now. Libby, in about 20 seconds, why is this so important?
It's the first time since 2011 that the US are getting astronauts into space on their own. We've only had the Russian Soyuz vehicle to get to and from the space station, so it's a very, very important time to see this go well.
What are the concerns right now as we're watching?
Everybody will be just working through the last steps of the countdown. It's all going to be done automatically. They'll just be checking all the telemetry, making sure it's all as it should be, and then hopefully in just a little while we'll see those rocket engines light and it should go off the pad and into space.
Okay, so 21, 20, 19 seconds, and hopefully we're going to hear it as well as it takes off. Although you're saying it's unmanned, there is a dummy on board, which is the weight of an astronaut, to try and test how it'll work. Here we go.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zero. Please ignition. Lift off.
So if you've turned your screens on, you are now watching a test flight of an unmanned capsule to the International Space Station. This is the new Crew Dragon capsule, which is making its debut flight in Florida, launched by the UK, in coordination with NASA at the headquarters there. No human passengers on board, but it is carrying a spacesuit-clad dummy, very similar to one launched into space last year, which will help those at NASA monitor what is going on and how potentially, in a short while, real humans can go up inside.
Listen to that.
Special.
For those of you just joining us, you are watching a live view of the Falcon 9 rocket as it ascends through the atmosphere carrying the SpaceX Dragon 2 capsule to orbit. The vehicle just passed through max Q, which is the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle. As you can hear in the background, the excitement at SpaceX headquarters is unbelievable here.
The vehicle is passing through max Q.
So, Libby, a lot of excitement here on Earth in the UK, isn't there? Tell us about, from what you can tell, and obviously from their reactions, that seems to have been a pretty successful launch at least.
Yeah, so far so good. Everybody's always really pleased when we see it go off the launch pad, but it's going to take 10 minutes for this spacecraft to get all the way into orbit. And it's not until those final engines shut down that everybody will completely relax and go, okay, we've got it into space. And it's on its way to the space station.
Whenever you watch images like this, or see images like this, the concern is obviously, in past memories, what are the crucial pinch points in the launch? Can you take us through that?
Yes, you've just seen that point. There was this point called max Q. Now that's the point at which you have this maximum aerodynamic pressure. So you've got this rocket that's blasting through the air. It's very thick. And that's the point when it's the forces that are at its greatest. Once it's through that, it gets easier. Any sort of vibrations should die down. So that's always a key point, especially for this when it's the first time that this capsule has launched.
And of course, this is now carrying, I mentioned it's carrying this dummy, this spacesuit-clad dummy, similar to one launched earlier in the year, but it's also carrying around 450 pounds of cargo. What does this represent? What does this prepare in terms of future flights?
It means that we will have an independent way of getting crew to and from the International Space Station. Since the shuttle retired in 2011, the only way to do it has been with the Soyuz capsule. That was what Tim Peake flew on back in 2015.
There are cheers now. What are we seeing now? Is this separation? This is a key moment?
It is. So what we've seen here is the first stage has finished doing its job. The rocket is in two parts. The first one has now completed. We've now got a successful separation, and this is the part at the top which will carry on pushing it all the way up to 400 kilometres into orbit.
We can hear some of the commentary here now.
Towards orbit. On the left-hand side of your screen, that is a view from this first stage as it makes its way back down towards the Earth. Let's go down to Lauren and Dan for updates on that first stage recovery.
Okay, well, we'll come back to you, Libby, as you're explaining. So he was just explaining the 2
Lauren and Dan.
We don't want Dan, we want Libby. So that's brilliant, isn't it? So we're on one crucial part.
Exactly. We're on the way. We're not there yet, but always once you've got to that second stage, you go, yeah, okay, it's going well. The first stage is always very dramatic. With spaceflight now, we're all about trying to reuse things, bring down the cost, make it more sustainable. And that first stage lands back on Earth. It's an amazing engineering feat. It's like a pencil coming down on its tip. and it's going to land on a boat in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, if it all goes well. And yeah, I find that an amazing technical feat.
All the space coverage over the last few months, many years, has been about China, Russia, India, Europe. Is this the American? This is really important for the Americans to kind of say, we're still here and we're still doing this.
It's really important for the international community as a whole. What we do in human spaceflight is international. As you said, we've got people from Canada, from Europe, the UK is a part of it. Just relying on the Russians just means that if anything goes wrong with that Soyuz, we've got no way of getting to and from this amazing scientific laboratory in space. We saw it just before Christmas. There was a launch that went wrong. 2 astronauts safely landed back again. So we need this dual approach, and in fact there will be 3.
And we need to stress, don't we, this international collaboration, because for so long we spoke about space wars, didn't we, and the race to space, but now it is. I mean, I've been very lucky to speak to Tim Peake very often.
Nozzle check of the SRBs, firing chain is armed, sound suppression water system armed, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Houston, we do not have a problem.
Pay attention to the floor, yeah?
Ankerson, and you're watching NSC TV News Studio. First up, let's head over to the weather pod at the National Space Centre Leicester for an update.
Thanks, Rob. I'm Jamie Cooper, and here is your weather update for the 16th of January 2085. Extreme flood warnings are in place across the Netherlands as heavy rain continues to swell rivers, and the Atlantic is one of the warmest winters on record, is threatening the few remaining colonies of penguins. Back here in the UK, you will need your umbrella if you are heading out today. In Scotland, you see an unusually cold start this morning, with a rare hint of air frost in some towns and cities. Low pressure still dominates much of England, with several centimetres of rain expected in the Midlands. There is a high risk of flash flooding in low-lying areas, and it's the middle of the flood session in the northwest, to be sure to check your local news streams for warnings in your area. Southern parts of England are in for another warm night as the mild weather continues. Some viewers have been sending pictures of spring clouds already poking through. That's all from me. Jamie Cooper. Remember, militants and shorts are safe.
Now, the shocking footage of a 50-foot robot destroying an entire... That's not a robot. That's a kitten. Oh. Do I have to do everything down to myself?
We have a go from the range. You are clear to launch. First stage actuators locked in. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Ignition. 2, 1. Engine running. We have a liftoff.
Well done. Astronaut George, are you ready for takeoff? What have you got?
Doors opening. Lift ascending.
People say to me, how did you get the space?
Doors closing. Step 3. Space race. Leaving Earth. Doors opening. Deck 4, space race, destination Moon.
And you're cleared for takeoff. 8, 7, 6, 5, port stage, arm exit, proceed. 36 feet per second up. Very coming down at 23. 500 feet to 15. 750 feet down at 4. 100 feet, 3.5.
Move the stick forward to step through the skill levels. Then press a joystick button to accept your selection. Welcome to Lunar Contact. I'm Roger, and I'll be your instructor for today's training session. You've chosen the novice skill level. To help you land safely, an on-screen heads-up display is provided. Notice the 2 pointers on either side of the K scale on the right side of the display. You need to decrease power. You need to increase power. Push the throttle forward. You need to decrease power. Pull the throttle back.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
500 feet, 400 feet, 300 feet, 700 feet, 100 feet.
Okay, you had a little trouble with it. So we're going to give you another shot, starting at 500 feet.
200 feet, down to 1.
You need to decrease power. Pull the throttle back.
750, coming down at 23.
You need to increase power. Push the throttle forward.
100 feet, 50 feet, 75 feet, 40 feet, contact right, 40 feet.
Just because lunar gravity is only 1/6 of Earth.
That's a moon rock.
Deck 1, space race, new frontiers.
No, jestem tak głodny, że teraz zaczyna płakać już. No dobra, to daj mi to jedzenie. No jak to jest?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is a visitor's announcement. Beginning in just under 5 minutes' time in the Light Space Gallery, we have a free light show taking place called Travelling
very bright star in the constellation of Lyra. It forms part of the Summer Triangle, along with the stars Deneb in the constellation of Cygnus and Altair in the constellation of Aquila. It is a blue-white star with twice the mass of the Sun. Such stars use up their fuel more quickly, so Vega is already halfway through its expected 1 billion year lifetime. Pollux is the brightest star in the constellation of Gemini. It is 9 times larger than our Sun, but only twice its mass. It has at least one planet, which orbits the star every 590 days. The light from Pollux takes 34 years to reach us here on Earth. The Sun is our own star, which sits at the centre of the solar system. Although it is a fairly typical star, it appears 13 billion times brighter than Sirius, the next brightest star in the sky, because it is so very close to us. Its light only takes around 8 minutes to reach us. Barnard's star is one of the closest stars to us after the Sun. Because it is a red dwarf, however, and less than 1/5 the size of the Sun, it is too faint to be seen without a telescope. It is also very old, at almost 3 times the age of our Sun. Sirius is the brightest star in the night sky. What our eyes see as one star is actually 2 stars. The companion star is a faint white dwarf. Sirius is particularly bright in the sky because it is very close to us. Its light takes 8 years to reach Earth.
Put it back in my bag. I'll try my life.
Separation in 3, 2, 1. Separation. Clear the ducting funnel. Separation complete. Initiator orbit burn.
Roger, deorbit burn. 300 kilometers.
Stand by for atmospheric entry.
Initiating entry.
Done. Honors to rest of it all.
Looking steady, Franco. Trajectory looks good. Brace for entry. 3.5 Gs.
And race looking good.
250 kilometers. We've got a little vibration.
Plasma shape degrade at 95%.
Roger, Neil. Okay, stand by, Neil. Columbia, this is Houston, 1 minute, 30 seconds, LOS, all systems go, over. Houston, this Neil, radio check. Yeah, this is Houston, loud and clear. Break, buzz, this is Houston, radio check, TV, almost like a powder down there. It's very fine. Down there, it's off the land now. That's one small step for man. From there.
Hello and welcome to East Midlands Today. Centre in Leicester opened its doors to the public today after being closed for 8 months because of the pandemic. Those among the first to be allowed back were able to see moon rock, Tepeek's spacesuit and a planetarium show.
It's a great place to learn about space and education.
It's kind of an important place for us as well.
Yeah, he proposed to me here at a Valentine's event, and then 8 months later we had our wedding reception here.
It's so spacey. I like rockets. I'm going to be an astronaut when I grow up.